Yeah, this week we were going to talk about the Brawl for All. Last week we mentioned that we were going to get into it this week. Well, you're going to get into it this week. What was your whole take on the WWF Brawl for All?
Well, you know, I was there. I suffered through it, and let me say this, and I'm sure that everybody can agree with me. There have been a lot of stupid things done in professional wrestling. I mean, for example, you know, the last 2 years of WCW, it was pretty much weekly, and I think everything that they did was probably stupider than the Brawl for All, but I have to say that when I look back, there's been specific incidents or maybe finish of a match or just a promo that came and went or something that the WWF did that was stupider than the Brawl for All. But as far as an ongoing thing that did more damage to their business, that did more damage to the talent, that didn't work, and that went on for so long, the Brawl for All probably, I would say, would take the prize for the stupidest thing that the WWF has ever done. Now, I know that opens me up that everybody's going to say, oh, now here he's going to unleash 15 minutes of I hate Vince Russo, my colleague at TNA. And it was Vince's idea, and it was a stupid idea. But, you know, a lot of people have had stupid ideas. Everybody has stupid ideas. I've had stupid ideas. But, you know, nothing like that ever went on that long and et cetera. But when you think about it, it wasn't the fault of the guy that had the idea. It was the fault, because a lot of stupid ideas get talked about and then shot down. But it was the fault of the guy who runs the company. So we got to go back to my other friend, Vince McMahon, who actually, he wasn't on drugs, I'm pretty sure. He wasn't under extreme mental duress at that point, otherwise than the ratings and the fact that business was down. It just basically, he allowed something that was so stupid that could have been seen on the surface of it that wasn't going to work and was just going to lead to disaster. He allowed it to go on his television. So I vote for Vince McMahon as being responsible. Here was the concept for those folks who are too young or who have, what do they call it when you get that syndrome where you put a horrible memory of abuse or violence out of your mind? Or whatever it was, for the people who have forgotten it, let's talk about the Brawl for All. They had this concept where they were going to take guys on the roster, anybody that wanted to sign up for the thing, and they were going to have what amounted to a glorified tough man contest, where the guys would get in there and wear boxing gloves and basically have a tough man fight, and it was going to be an elimination tournament, and it was going to be a shoot. That's right. They were actually telling the guys to get in the ring and beat each other up for real, and the winner of the fight, to make sure they tried, would get $5,000 and continue on for a big prize, right? Overlooking the fact that there was a lot of great athletes and a lot of tough guys in the WWF, but they had not been in training for competition. They had been in training for performance, which the unathletic people who constructed this, and Kevin Dunn was in it too, can't forget my old friend Kevin, the unathletic people who constructed this had no fucking clue that that's a recipe for disaster, but also the fact that they put not only underneath guys who may have not had a spot, who were trying to get over and wanted to get a break any way they could in the thing, but they also allowed top guys who wanted to enter it to be involved in it. Not many did, but one guy who we'll talk about in a second entered it because he felt he could win it and should have won it and went on to disaster. So when I heard this concept, I said to him, I said, wait a minute, now these are from the people who brought you sports entertainment. I said, now wait a minute. Used to, we got in the ring and we worked with each other, but we made people believe that we were really hurting each other, and they bought tickets. Now, for the past several years, you have basically beaten the fans over the head with the fact that this isn't real, it's all fake, it's all scripted and choreographed, and you pretty well now have gotten down to the last few people in the world that haven't heard about this, so everybody thinks everything we do is phony. And now that they think that, you're going to put the guys in the ring to really hurt each other and shoot, and the people aren't going to believe it anyway because you've told them for the past several years it's all phony. Are you following this logic, Tommy?
Absolutely.
Okay. And they looked at me with straight faces and like I had smoking turds hanging out of my mouth and said, well, yes, because it will be a shoot, overlooking the fact that nobody was going to fucking believe it. So anyway, they start out with the thing, and we talked about last week, Bart Gunn and Bob Holly, I believe, were in the first round, might have been the first fight when they were supposed to be the new Midnight Express, so thankfully that euthanized that gimmick. But Bart Gunn